Hey y'all detours, welcome again to another D2 Talk where we interview inspiring people from the art viz field and beyond. This week I had a chat with Anna Mañosa, the founder of Beats of Light based in Barcelona. I would like to note that this interview was recorded during the current worldwide situation with COVID-19. For those of you affected directly or indirectly by this current crisis, we at the D2 are here for you if you need anything. Feel free to hit us up via email or our social media channels. Together we'll get through this thing and come out stronger on the other side. So Anna and I touched on some great topics which will be very helpful to a lot of you up-and-coming artists out there. We discussed some other items which will keep even the most seasoned and grizzled artists out there glued to the screen. So if you like this video, and I think you will, give it a like, leave a comment, and share it with your friends. And if you haven't done so already, please go hit that subscribe button. Now on to the interview. I'll see you soon. Hello Anna, it's nice to be here with you today. Thank you for joining us. So I'm here with Anna Mañosa, and Anna, I'm going to let you maybe introduce yourself. I think it's probably the easiest way.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the interview. The pleasure is mine of being in your set of interviews. Well, I'm Anna Mañosa, and I'm the founder of Anna Mañosa Architecture Media, and then recently I have founded the studio Beats of Light, which was founded one month ago. Since the family just got bigger, so we decided to get a studio that is more like not such directed to a personal name, but to a team name with the studio, and that means that all the teams is together and with different project leaders.
Right, and you said it's gotten bigger. How many people?
We are 4 at the moment.
Okay. And before that, I think you had told me that you studied architecture.
Okay, yeah, I started architecture, so I'm an architect, and when I was studying, I realized that the architecture was in, combined different fields like the construction, and I was more interested in the development of the projects, like the early concept development, competitions, and so on. And I had the opportunity to go to Denmark to study and work, and I was doing a bit of 3D at that time, not anything serious. And I had the opportunity to work at Plot, an office named Plot, which was founded by Bjarke Ingels and Julian Desmet.
Yeah, I remember this one, yeah.
Yeah, this was in 2003, and there were only like 12 people there, and they even had anything built yet. They were building the first building, and I mean it was very exciting. It was my first job, and so I was scared and excited in a way. There was a girl that was only doing like 3D. So then I realized that this could be a career. I mean, it was not only that you could do a side, but also like to have a career, like something specific that you could also do. So then I started to get more in the 3D. And when I went back to Barcelona, I'm from Barcelona. I was working in different architecture studios, and I was working for one in those years. But the crisis came, and we were all fired out, and we had no place to go. So then I said, okay, so now it's the time for me to do my passion, that is architectural visualization. So then I started to go a bit more serious with this, and since there were no jobs around, then I said, okay, so then I have to create my own studio, and then I started freelancing and collaborating with different studios, and also with architectural visualization studios. So this is how I started, and then recently I have founded like Beats of Light, which I was already talking before.
Yeah.
And I'm combining this with being a teacher. I'm teaching at the university and in different places.
And what are you teaching?
I'm
3D
teaching art.
topics?
Yeah, art base.
Yeah, okay. And you were talking about the crisis. You were talking about this from the 2007, 2008 time
Yes,
period.
in that studio, since we were doing a lot of public buildings, it hit us like it was more like 2010, 2011. They started
Right.
firing people in 2010. We were 40 architects in that studio, and I mean, I think that now they are only like 5 or 6, but we were all fired.
Wow.
And so I took like this opportunity to really invest in myself, in what I really liked, that was 3D. That this was my passion, and I was a bit fed up of projects that were never ending. So I took like this opportunity to go more deep into this field.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. It's a very common story, though, I've heard from other Spanish people, especially, which is interesting because I never really felt this previous crisis in Austria. It wasn't, of course, you recognized it was going on. There was a lot of things happening in the financial markets and so on. But in terms of like work and things, it seemed like it didn't really make that big of an effect. I don't know why. It's a strange thing, but I know in Spain it was really quite a shock, and other places as well. Maybe Italy. I never have figured that out why, but
Yeah, I don't know,
but it
but
was a very common thing I heard from other people as well in Spain.
yeah, in Spain it was very common. I mean, some of the offices here in Barcelona were actually more focused into architecture than not architectural visualization. But
Hmm.
then the architecture, I mean, there were no work. Then they turn it into architectural visualization studios.
Yeah,
So,
Berga Gonzalez is one I know for sure. Yeah.
Playtime, Graph. I mean,
Oh,
all
really?
of yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's really crazy actually. And it's interesting though that you just that the people, all of those companies sort of stuck into that side of it afterwards as well. I guess they realized they actually really liked it, right? Like,
Yeah, I think they were also passionate about it.
right.
So
So you know, there's a lot of times you hear stories from people about what inspires them, things that inspired them along the way. Do you have something like that you can think of that maybe inspired you along the way to become to I don't know to become to do maybe not only to be in ArcViz but also like inspires the work that you're doing?
yeah, well, I think it's not really a story or somebody that influenced me, but I think the way you act, it's like the way that you have experience in life. So I had the opportunity of working in different fields apart from architecture when I was younger, and I saw bosses treating employees and treating clients, and I learned what I wanted for my future work and what I was never going to do. And in the field of architecture, like I had the opportunity to collaborate with an architect and visualizer, Sergio Godoy, in the early beginnings, and then with the guys of Render Taxi. I mean, we went
Hmm.
with them to the D2 conference in 2015, which was really really good. And then with those people, I learned a lot how to deal with clients and how to run a studio and how to act professionally in a way. I mean,
Hmm.
with the Godoy, he was a freelancer, and I was helping him in some project, and I'm very grateful because he took me under his wing, and he's been like a mentor for me. He taught me a lot of things. Not, I mean, not only technical, but just seeing him working on project and with clients. And I mean, I learned how to sail a boat in the Archviz field as a
Hmm.
freelancer. I started, and with the guys of Render Taxi, which is a bigger studio based in Germany and Barcelona. I learned the importance of team building and sharing all the process together. So when, for instance, we had a difficulty, there was always somebody ready to help. And then when we discover like new things, we were always sharing it with the rest of the team, so we could all grow together. And this is one thing that I'm applying in bits of life, that we are all a team and we can all grow together. I think it's very important. And also, like, the experience that I have, like, from my parents, they are both economists, and I'm the like the black sheep of the family, in a way, like architect or what. And so just listening to them, and that when they were talking with clients, or were any conversation with friends, I really saw that they were really like customer oriented, and that also really influenced me. So this is why I'm bringing all this experience to, and these lessons to my studio, and not only treating clients like my future mother-in-law, but also treating the people that works, and the team, that they come to the office and they are happy, they are listened, and they are proud of what they are doing, and treat them well, and feel them comfortable. I mean, this is one thing that has really marked me in my business life, and also in my professional life. Like, treat people well. In Spain, we say you achieve more like with a spoon of sugar than with a spoon of vinegar. And trying to see the people that I mean, the person that is behind like the client, or the employee, or the mate, that and try to build a relation, instead of having like a transaction. Try to have like some empathy, and to listen to the people.
It sounds like you took all of this information and experience to heart when you apply it to what you're doing. That's great. Do you have any rituals that you do to get things done? Like, not maybe yourself, but also in the office, like, a to-do lists, or I don't know, some kind of system that you use to take action on things.
Yeah, I mean, I try to write everything down by hand, because I think that when you write it by hand, it also gets more in your mind, and you're not forgetting things. Although then you have to look at the list, because if you totally ignore it, then that happens sometimes. then then it's not really working. And we are in an environment that with all the changes that the clients are asking, and all the mails, the phone calls, and so on. It's very easy that you start forgetting things, and sometimes it can, all of these things that you have to do, that maybe they are like little things, they can be a bit overwhelming. So I try to write every single detail down, to also to communicate with the people, and the team also is doing the same. So we do like this checklist. And I think the most important thing is like to find a system that you can apply to a lot of situations, not only in communications, but for instance, here at the studio, we have like a system of how to do the process of creating the images. Although all the images are different, you cannot apply the same structure to all of them. I mean, this is not a factory. Our work is mainly creative, but at least you have a structure that you can still follow when you get kind of lost in. And it's also good to break the system sometimes. But I feel like our profession is a bit like the old artisans. I mean, we are crafting an image. This is also why I'm so passionate about archviz. At the end of the day, you get something finished. For example, like you do a project, competitions, like 3 images, and then you finish them. So and you go on with another project. So it's a very dynamic situation, and you end up having this product finish, like if we were making pottery or something, and you can look at it and see the downsides and the things that you did good. We talk with the team about how was the whole project, and get and try to improve the system so that you can apply it to another project. And this is what we are trying at the studio. I mean, I really felt when I was working in architecture that projects were lasting forever. I mean, I was working in a project on and off that was going there for 2 years, and you never saw and you never saw the end. So I think it's one of the good things about ArcBase is that it's short, it's very dynamic, and but you still have to, and it's very creative, but you still need to have like a system that you can try to apply to this creative process.
Yeah, I also I read something recently about someone who was saying, I can't remember, I wish I could remember where I saw this, but was somebody talking about how a to-do list isn't a great item. It's actually, it should be a win to do list. Like that's actually more important, is when to do it, not just that you, because otherwise you get overwhelmed with all these tasks that you have to do. But if you come down and say, when am I going to do these things, then you have more of a structure about like how is it going to get completed. So yeah, I mean, I think sometimes just having lists doesn't help, but more of a schedule sometimes of when you're going to do actual tasks. Because if you have a huge list of things to do, you know those things are going to take a really long time. Some of them are fast,
Yeah.
some of them are quick, but unless you actually write down when am I going to do these things, I actually have a to-do list that I've had for a month. I don't know, that's not done because of that problem sometimes. So I don't know. Sometimes I think it's you really have to fit all these things to your own maybe your own way of working.
Yeah, for example, in the morning, like I come here very early and I try to do like all the not creative
Hmm.
stuff, like to write mails and the invoices and the cost proposals and so on. So
Right.
that these are like short things to do. So then 9 o'clock in the morning, you have a lot of things crossed from your
Yeah,
from your list,
that's good.
and this is what I'm trying to do, and leave the rest, because if not, you get so crazy.
Up to now, if you could look back, is there something that you wish you would have known when you were starting? Let's say starting to do ArcViz.
Yeah, well, I wish I knew a lot of stuff, because when I started, like there was not a lot of information around, and well, I mean, I started with this. I'm going to show you.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
is this is how I started. The Bible,
Yeah.
the Bible. And I started reading this book, and I wish I had maybe like a network or somebody,
Hmm.
like to find like a mentor, like I told before, and I wish I knew a lot of stuff. But I think that the most important thing when somebody is starting in a field is to find a network of people, like or mentor that is in the field, and somebody you can relate and share and grow together, and try to gather a lot of information, because of course information it's in books, but it's also in the web, but it's mostly on people. So
Hmm.
so try to find people that is in the same field and ask them questions, and maybe then you can collaborate with them, and try to learn from their expertise, and also like I may have make a lot of mistakes, but for example, when you start, especially if you start on your own, I mean, make sure to make like a contract. I mean, Fabio is talking a lot about this, but it's important to get to get a contract. And if I had to say one thing, do never say prices on the phone. I had this experience in my early beginning, like sometimes calling me and asking me, okay, I need to do like 3 images for this and that. And then I said, okay, send me the information by email, and then I will come back to you with the budget. And then he said, no, but it has to be fast because I don't want to lose time. So how many this will cost? And then I set the price per image. And then I said, well, it's going to cost you, I don't know, €2 per image. And then we agreed on that, and he said, okay, yes. So then he sent me the information in the afternoon. Then I sent him the cost proposal, and then on the next morning he was calling me and saying me, okay, this is not what we agreed. I mean, you are doing the price bigger than we thought.
Yeah.
And says, well, you told me it was going to cost €2. And I said, no, I said €2 per image. No, this is not what you were saying. So I think it's very important to fit and not I mean, doing something written, and also the comments and everything. I mean, although you are talking on the phone with the client, with the comments and the changes and all of this, just write it down in a mail and say, okay, we are agreeing with these changes, and this is what we are going to do. So I think this would be my advice for me when I was starting.
I think that's also a good one. I would typically myself I don't like to tell people prices until I've seen the information, exactly what the project is.
I think it's very important, like, to see the project before you put like how much time you are going to invest on it, and then how much it's going to cost. I think it's key.
Yeah, definitely. Depends on what it is that you're going to have to do. So the next question is something similar. Perhaps it's the same thing, but what's something that you maybe have failed at in the past, which turned out to like really help you later on?
Yeah, well, I have made a lot of mistakes, but I think that in this business side, like, I think that my biggest failure at some point was that, like, I am a huge perfectionist, which is good, but it's also a disadvantage. I mean, I was putting too much attention to detail, and then when you're starting on your own, it's your own hours, it's your own business, and well, you can spend the hours in whatever you want, and so then you spend it in your job. But you also need to balance your job and your life, and you cannot put a lot of hours from your life into your work, and not only for the life but also for the budget. So then I was always out of the budget.
Right.
So then it means that you're working for free. So then when I started hiring people, it was difficult for me to delegate and to make people do some kind of jobs, because I wanted them to be perfect, and I was not sure if it was going to be the way that I wanted. But at the end, I mean, I learned that it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it has to be finished. And we all have a lot of personal projects that we are never ending, and that we are starting something, and we want it to be very cool and all of it. But at the end, if we are not finished, we do not finish them, it's like I mean, it doesn't really make sense. And that applies to projects, to images, and also to songs. They are not perfect, but they need to be finished. For instance, in a song, for example, you could always arrange like this part or this other part at another guitar, tweaking here, second voice, whatever. But at some point, you need to stop designing and stop creating and finish it. I remember, like, there was one day that I was at home at night doing some like post-production and image, and then I just put like a little adjustment layer with some levels that were tweaking like a tiny little bit the image. And if it was like for death or or live, I went to my husband and say, please, can you come to the computer? So what do you think about this one or this one? And then he was like, I mean, what? I don't see any difference here. And it was at that moment that turned out to be a great life lesson, and especially in work, because I soon started delegating more and give the team to have like more creativity and to take more responsibilities and make their own decisions, and of course let them fail or do things that could have been done in a different way, so that they could also improve as designers and visualizers. So this is now what we are trying to do at the studio, and it's something that we really pay attention, like to divide workloads and to work as a team, helping each other, and of course meeting the quality that we are aiming for. But it's I have improved myself into this, that it doesn't really have to be perfect, and if it's not the way that it should be, then we can fix it all together. So I think it was one thing that really I had to improve, and I need to improve now, not to control everything in my personal life and in my business.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that though, because it makes me think about these guys like people who are creating something every day in a couple of hours, and when he came and talked to the D2, that's what he's talking about. He's like, and I mean, he even calls his website is called Beeple Crap, and he said he's like, it's not. He goes, he knows that most of it is not good at all, but that's not the point at all. The point is that you finish something every day and that you have something to post, and that's how he started doing it. I mean, of course, now there's thousands upon thousands of people doing this, but when he was back doing this at the beginning, he was like the only one, and he was just posting it on his website. I mean, it was even before like all this. I mean, he's been doing it for so long. But I think that's an interesting strategy. Of course, there's an argument there that you would never get into deep into things because you're having always to do this sort of short thing. But he's managed to do that as well. He does long-term projects as well, but he's always doing this thing every day. You know that, and it actually it's pretty. I think it is good practice because it shows you, okay, what can I do in a short amount of time? Because in those situations where you, like you said, it has to be done. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be done. It can really help you, because then you say, okay, I know what I need to do to get this thing out the door and fix it so that it can be finished. Now it's just an interesting parallel somehow, because I have this. I'm with like you. I have the same problem. I was always such a perfectionist. Like when I was modeling things, I was modeling like little things which were so unnecessary. You know, I mean, but yeah, you have to be careful about that.
Yeah, I think I learned the lesson, but I also have to apply this a bit more to my personal life. For example, I'm kind of shy in reality, but then in the social networks, I'm also I'm even more shy, which is normally is the opposite. But I never find the right time to write a comment, and because okay, but I didn't check the other comments, and so, or I never post a lot of stuff on my personal like Instagram, like the pictures and so on, because I don't think it's good enough, and it's just like, okay, I mean, post it. I mean, nobody cares, and nobody's going to look at it. It's not something like super good, but just do it. And this regarding this thing that you were saying about people like. There was a studio, or there was something that I read somewhere, I don't remember what, that they took like two groups of people and they had to make like a vase, and they said to one group of people, okay, you have to make only one vase. You can only make one, and try to develop it as perfect as possible. And then they took the other group and then say, you need to do a lot of vases, but as perfect as possible. And at the end, you think, okay, if they only have to do one, they will do it. They will do it better than the other ones that they need to do a lot. And it was the opposite. I mean, when they look at the second group, they saw that they were better, the vases, that the ones that were that had only done one, because they experienced like to do one and another one and another one and another one, that they were refining the process and getting the quality better. And I think it's a very good habit, like to keep things short in a short amount of time, because this is the way to improve, I think, or one of the ways to improve.
Yeah, definitely. And I like what you said as well about, not posting things. I have had the same problem. Sometimes it's because I'm lazy. Sometimes it's because I'm like, why is anybody going to want to look at this? But the reality is, in the end, there's always going to be somebody who does not like what you did. It doesn't matter if it's the best thing you've ever made and you think, I've made this perfect image. There's going to be people who don't like it. So the reality is, in the end, you shouldn't care at all. Like, I mean, if you're, you shouldn't care at all what other people are thinking about it, because, you can't control it anyway. Of course, you don't want to put trash out there. That makes sense. But in the end, if it's something that you think you could publish, you should do it, I think. Do you ever use the answer no, or saying no to people? Do you use this in your work life with clients? Like, no is powerful, you to say no to someone.
Yeah, I think it's something that you shouldn't be afraid of saying no. I mean, when I was in Denmark studying, there was like this Japanese guy, which was the first Japanese guy that I have ever met, and we were sometimes asking him, so are you coming to the party, or are you doing this? And then he was sometimes saying, maybe not. And then we were like, okay, so maybe yes, maybe he's coming. And then at the end, we figure out that maybe not was meaning definitely no. But in the Japanese culture, you are not. It's not polite to say no. You should always find like this way around to say no. And I'm trying to apply a bit like this Japanese thing, like saying no, but always provide like an alternative. I think no, it's a very powerful word, because it can set a boundary, and we shouldn't be afraid of saying no, but always try to provide like this alternative. When I started, like I was very afraid to say no, and now I'm not that afraid. Okay, we cannot do it, but if you wait 2 more days, then we can start with the project. And I realized that when I started to say no to the clients, for example, they started respecting me more. Like, for example, they were calling me Friday morning and said, okay, I need these images for next Monday. Instead of saying, well, no, I can start on Monday, I was like, oh, they are going to appreciate if I'm doing this effort and so on. And instead of appreciating it, that is what you would think, they thought that I was there available for them. And then there was a point that I say, no, I mean, I'm not going to do it. And then this client, he learned that he had to call me in advance, that we cannot do something for the next day or for the weekend, something. And now the same with changes. I mean, you cannot come the last day and start changing a lot of stuff. Then I have to say no. But I say, okay, well, we cannot do all the changes, but maybe we can do these ones. Would that be okay? And then we always enter like in a conversation when the two parts are agreeing, and this is something that I learned, and that we shouldn't be afraid of saying no, because sometimes a no is a more valuable than a yes if we provide like an alternative or something.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you just say no, you're not going to get anywhere, because people don't react very well to that usually. You have to have a reason. I mean, even if that reason is no, I'm not working all weekend on this just because you came to me late. for instance, I mean, I think people understand that then, though. They're like, yeah, okay, you're right. We came to you right at the last second. That's our fault. Um, you're right. If you say yes, then, I mean, they're going to be like, oh, okay, perfect. Now we can call her anytime right before a
Yes.
deadline. So yeah, but providing a reason or providing an alternative is definitely it's a much better way to get people to understand and to take that
Mm.
negative reaction
Yeah,
for
into
sure. Yeah, you need to turn it around. You can't just can't say no, and that's it. Um, so kind of on that topic a little bit I don't know, have you ever heard anything in the field, people who work in the field who are giving bad information, where you would say that this is something that you shouldn't follow, or at least from your experience?
I think that that our profession is like balanced with like three things, like a triangle. Like first you have like the software, then you have like the more like creative art, and then you have like the business part. And for instance, in some of these Facebook groups, or in places where people are posting images, like what we tend to say, oh, great work and awesome and all of this. But I think we should value the work, but also like make like a positive impact in the work that they are doing, so that people can improve. But what really makes me thing is that the one of the first things that people is asking is, okay, so which software did you use, or which
Yeah,
HDRI did you use in this work? And this is not the question. I mean, this is not what you should ask. It's like when photographers are posting like they work. So which camera are you using? It's not about this. It's about it's not about the camera. It's like the photographer that is behind it. It's how you use these tools and how you use the software. I mean, there are movies that they have been made with an iPhone and not with professional cameras, and they have been
yeah.
in the cinema. And there's one of Steven Soderbergh, and then Michael Gondry also shooted
Hmm.
like a short film with an iPhone. So I think we should learn more about the artistic approach, and how to use the software and how to control the tools, but also learn a lot of other fields like photography or painting, that are not like this software related. And for example, this is also what I'm trying to teach to my students. And also there's this guy Adan Martin. I don't know if
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know him. He is always saying, get out of the computer. And this is something that is very good, because sometimes we are so focused in the buttons that we should concentrate more, like in the software, of course, in the creative side, but then also in the business side, like to make this
Right.
triangle work, and how to lead with clients or teammates and bosses, and for sure try to learn something in the creative process of crafting an image. So I think that the first thing maybe that you should ask, if you appreciate an image, is maybe, so which was your inspiration, which were your references, like why did you choose this lighting or this composition, instead of asking like the software or the HDRI and all of this stuff.
Yeah, I believe that people a lot of times are confusing the actual tool or method um, with the technique, and
Yeah.
it's the technique that you should be interested in, because then you can apply that to many things. That is not to say that you don't need to know the tools. Of course, you need to know the tools, because just like anything, if I don't know how to use a computer at all, then I can't. There's a lot of things I'm not going to be able to do. So it's
Or
not to say that you don't have to know the tools, but I think once you open it up and you start to understand the techniques behind how things are done, then you can really apply it. And that means you can even watch other things that have nothing to do with what you're doing, and learn something and apply it because it's not so stuck on exactly what tool you're using. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good one. I think you could talk for hours about this topic. Probably, it's quite a broad one. I know there's people who lean both ways. There's people who say no, you really need to know the tool at 100% to be able to do those things. But I don't know. The reality is you don't. It depends on what your job is. I think if your job is to use that tool, then yes, you probably need to know it 100%. If your job is to direct people who are using the tools, then you have to know something else. So.
I think, I mean, of course, I'm not saying that you don't have to know the tool.
Oh,
but,
I know.
not the only thing. And some people, especially the beginners, they think that it's only about the tool.
So I know that you were involved as well with the AVA, the Architecture Visualization Association. I know that there was a push to try to get that to be a more accepted, a more broad thing. I know that's a very complicated thing, but based on that, do you feel like that the community in our field, do you feel like that they are supporting each other generally?
Yeah, I think that we have like a good community in our field, and that we need this community to get value to our field. Like it's important that we understand that we are not only competitors, but we are also allies. I mean, we can be better professionals if we all gather together than not competing about each other and not explaining things and try to go all at once. This is what we should do. Like, for example, here in AVA, for example, that it was started in Barcelona, and it all started like with a barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Victor Enrique, he was calling some of us, some studios, and then gather us in a barbecue. So then there were some people that I knew, but we didn't know each other, and we started like to having like more meetings, and that ended in the ABBA summit that you were there in this round table.
Mm-hmm.
So we made like this meeting or conference, well, this summit that was more focused on round tables and not talking about images, and talking about more of different stuff, but it was like a community thing. So where do we want to take architectural visualization? And I think it was the first like meeting that we were talking about renders without showing any single render, which I was a bit surprised that we didn't show any render. And we are trying to take this to the next level. But of course, I mean, AVA was founded by some people from studios here in Barcelona, and we want everybody to join. But it was taking a lot of time of our lives and our work, and then it was a bit overwhelming. So now Ivan and Francesco from Prompt are getting like the lead, and we are trying to put it to the next level. There are also like other initiatives, like you have, for example, like I mean, the most important thing is that you can meet with people that is in the same field as yours. And if you don't have any on your city, then I think you should pick up the phone and call to this guy that you know that he's making art piece, and okay, so can we meet for a beer, and call another studio, and just go, and you'll see that people is friendly, and that we can empower like this field to have like a bit more value. And if not, you always have like the online solution. Like, for example, I think Jeff Motel with the CG architect, he's making a great work, and we owe him a lot. And doing like all these articles and surveys, and of course like the CG architect awards, that it's getting value to our profession. So I think that the community and not only with ABBA, but there are also different initiatives that we should all follow. And of course, I don't want to forget like this thing. We should get credit for our work. This is something that we can do together. Like Matthew Bannister is
Yes.
started this the credit revolution, and we can't remain faceless and no name. We need to be seen and get credit and acknowledgement of what we are doing, and this we can only do it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's something quite important, and I think that some people still don't see the importance in it. Um, However, yeah, I believe that there have already been some strides made, but as in our current situation, like we didn't really want to bring it up. There's this whole coronavirus thing affecting the world at this moment that we're having this interview. But I think it's moments like this where we need to come together even more. The problem is that there is also the danger that people go apart because they feel like, well, now I've got to really look after myself because nobody else is going to. But the opposite's actually true. If you come together, there's possibility for us to all get through this without having to shut all of our offices or everything. If you try to go by yourself, it's going to be much more difficult. So
Yes.
I'm really hoping that we can keep things together. It's not such an easy situation, but it will definitely pass eventually. And but I'm just hoping that the ArcViz community can stay together during it, and help
Yeah.
each other. Really, that's the main thing.
I hope so.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to ask. It's a little more philosophical question, but do you feel like you have a purpose in your life? I mean, it doesn't have to be what the work you do or anything like that, but do you feel like you have a purpose?
Mm, I believe that what you do is what you get in a way. So for example, I mean, I love doing ArcViz, but I also love teaching, and for
Mm-hmm.
the last 7 years I've been teaching, and I think I'm giving some value, but then I'm also receiving something. I always love to teach, and I think it could be maybe one of my purposes in life. And I've been teaching at the School of Architecture here in Barcelona. Well, I am teaching, and the thing is that it's I want to make like a kind of not impact in people, but I want them not to make the same mistakes that I did, and
Yeah.
so that they can improve and they can be better professionals. I mean, I'm trying to train the future competitors, but I'm not seeing them as competitors. I think that if they grow, we can all grow together, and I'm also learning from a lot from them. So it's like a get and return and
Right.
return thing. They are also asking me questions, so they keep me improving and finding other ways to find solutions and creating things different. So I think this is one of my purposes in life, and it's something that I always wanted to do.
Yeah. Great. No, I think that's fantastic to pass on your knowledge, and because like you said, you're also learning from them, and I think that's a really great thing. And what about success? What is success to you?
Well, I think that success, I think it's a bit related. Like it's like to
Mm-hmm.
to, to keep improving, like being a better person, a better professional in every day. And I think for me, success is like loving what you do every day, and of course, if you can live from it, it's fantastic. And
Yeah.
you should try to find happiness in little things. I mean, don't wait until the weekend to be happy. Don't wait until tonight to be happy. If you do not have the possibility to work on something that you love, I mean, to get money from something that you really love, try to find the happiness in little things. Although you have had a shitty day, I mean, just try to find this thing that makes you happy. It can be anything. Just put the shirt that you like. Just give a hug to your partner or whatever. But don't postpone your happiness. I mean, don't try that. I mean, if you cannot find the happiness, try to create it. Just grab a cup of coffee and try to enjoy this moment in this in these little things. And in the professional life, I guess that success maybe is to have like a abundance of an abundance environment, like for example in creativity, in projects, in growth, learn, like to freedom to do a lot of things, and basically not struggling like to get projects and also in life. I mean, this is for example the goal of the studio at the Beats of Light, like to get like this abundance of things. Although it's it's hard, but I think you maybe have to dream for it.
Anna, I want to say thank you very much for joining us and being on the to letting us interview you for the D2 talks. I'm going to stop the recording now and then we'll say goodbye, okay? So
Okay,
thank you again.
thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.